long ago when the gods were closer to men. A great hero fought to save mankind with divine aid. In his possession was a sword of light to pierce the darkness, and a sacred emblem of burning light, born of flames. An emblem that surpasses time and space. This is a story of the fabled Fire Emblem.
Hello everybody, I am Duncan.
And I'm Isaac, and we are happy to present to you
Fire Emblem, the Binding Blade.
Or, as it's properly known, Fuyin no Tsurugi. Because this game was only ever released in Japanese. So we are playing a fan translation. I believe this is the version, I think it's the Gringe translation. So, really nice that people in the community have provided these translations so that us Anglophonic folk can enjoy these games. So, why are we playing this game? Why did I decide to do this? So I wanted to play some Fire Emblem. I've been playing a lot of Fire Emblem lately, especially since the announcement of Three Houses, and I've kind of got back into the games and started playing the old games a lot. I found out about Fire Emblem the way a lot of 90s kids did through Super Smash Bros. Melee in 2002. And in that game, there are two Fire Emblem protagonists as characters. Now, obviously, there's a lot more in Smash. So one is Smarth, who is the protagonist of the first, third, 11th, and 12th games. And the second character was Roy, who is the main protagonist of this game. Roy was actually put into Smash before this game came out, so that was a preview for this game. And at the time, the intention was that this would be the first game in the series to come to the West, so people would be able to enjoy the series that they've been introduced to through Smash Bros. But it didn't end up working out that way, so I thought that to introduce this game to the channel, I would go with the first game that was supposed to come to the West instead of the first game we actually got. The game that we actually got is a prequel to this game, and it doesn't really tell the story. I mean, it's not really intended to be played before this game. It really calls back to this game. It's really supposed to be a prequel. Isaac, how much do you know about the Fire Emblem series?
So I have a pretty different trajectory to you. The first Fire Emblem game I actually played was, of course, Three Houses, the most recent Fire Emblem game. Following playing Three Houses, I decided, man, that was a really good game. Let me go back and see what the series has to offer. So I jumped in with what I thought at the time was the first game, of course being the game I found titled Fire Emblem. But as you've explained, I guess that was, the sequel to this game, or the prequel to this game, which explains why I had no clue what was happening the whole damn time I was playing that game.
Now, I will say, the fact that you had no clue what was happening the whole time, that's probably not super uncommon, even though that game was entirely intended to be people's first introduction to the series. The translation, the official translation of that game, is not that great, so there's a lot of confusing things, and the story is just kind of bad. If you want a good recap of what's wrong with the story, there's a channel a YouTube channel devoted to Fire Emblem, run by a guy who calls himself Mecha. Really excellent. He has a series about that game that is called Plinkett Emblem, or that's the name of the playlist, and each one is called like Fire Emblem is the worst thing, or Fire Emblem 7 is the worst thing since my son. And it really does a good job explaining why the story of that game not only doesn't make any sense, but it actually messes up the story of this game.
Good. So I'm coming in with a full background knowledge then of exactly what doesn't make sense with the story of this game.
So let's start a new game. This game has a hard mode. I think it was the first game in the series to have an unlockable, like, explicit hard mode. I know one of the Kaga games has a mode that changes the AI, but this is the first one that had a mode that inflates the stats. And I think for quite a while after this game came out, it was the hardest mode in Fire Emblem, which might have contributed to why... And this game is fairly difficult, and that's probably one of the reasons why it never came out in North America. So we're going to do a hard mode playthrough.
Man and dragon once coexisted in harmony. However, man shattered that harmony with a sudden onslaught. A great war, now known as the Scouring, was fought for dominion of the land. Losses were tremendous for both sides, and in this war, the very laws of nature itself are twisted and distorted, bringing chaos and unease. Defeated and humbled, the dragons disappeared from the realm. Mankind then began to... Oh, man, that's fast.
Alright, I'll finish off the rest of that. So this is one of the problems with fan translation. Japanese text is a lot more condensed than English, so yeah, you'll find that things can really shoot past us. So where do we get to? Defeated and humbled, the dragons disappeared from the realm. Mankind then began to rebuild and repopulate their newly won land. A millennium has passed since then. After defeating the dragons, the humans of Elebe quickly spread their culture and civilization to the furthest reaches of the continent.
Nice.
In the west lies the kingdom of Etruria, which is widely considered to possess the most refined culture in all of Elebe. In the original Japanese, this continent is called Erebu, which is probably a reference to the Greek Erebus, the primordial god of darkness. And this is supposed to be kind of a dark, gritty world. Etruria here is a big country in Elebe in the game, but in real life, it was an ancient region of what is now central Italy. So most of the places in this game are named after real locations.
This continent just looks vaguely Eurasian, but, you know, we'll give it to him.
Yeah. Yeah, it's super Eurasian, and that's very intentional. I mean, we'll see as we go through here that we're dealing with basically Eurasian influence. The Kingdom of Bern, which of course is a real place in Switzerland, with its powerful military and logical, pragmatic people, is located on the other side of the continent of Elebe in the east. These are the two most powerful nations in Elebe, with the weaker nations situated in between them. These smaller lands... Well, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, if there's ever a choice on allegiance, I mean, I'm siding with Bern. And, you know, that's only because of my dog.
Well, I hate to break it to you, but that's not how this game is going to play out. Okay. These smaller lands are the Lycian League. I've heard people say this as Lycian. That's the original Japanese pronunciation. Lycia is an ancient part of what is now Turkey. At one point it was a province of the Roman Empire. In English, this word is pronounced Lycian, but in Turkish, the word is pronounced Lycia. So yeah, the Lycian League, whose numerous territories are independently ruled by a number of marquises that are bound by a vow of allegiance. So that was the first one. The second is Ilia, where the people arduously till the frozen soil, and many become mercenaries to earn money to survive. So Ilia, again, a real place. This is the Greek name for the city that in English we call Troy. And the last of these that we're going to talk about right now is Sakai, where various clans ride through the plains on horseback. So this is a word that people debated how to say for a long time in this game because it's kind of a confusing word in English. In English, Sakai is the plural of Saka, which is the Japanese word for this place. And the Saka were groups of ancient Iranian nomadic peoples from the Asian steppe. Although there were occasional clashes between these nations, the majority of the people of Elebe lived in peace That peace, however, was not to last.
Humanity is grotesque.
King Zephiel of Bern has commanded his forces to conquer the entirety of Elib. So, we're not going to be allying with King Zephiel and Bern, I'm afraid, Isaac.
Darn. Alright, well, I won't tell Gus, but that's okay.
Yeah, don't tell Gus. He'll be very sad. Bern's armies first attacked Sakai and Ilia, ruthlessly massacring all who opposed them. Now, Bern is mounting a merciless invasion into Lycia.
Man, they really want us to know they're merciless.
They really want us to know these are bad dudes. Foray is a territory of Lycia known for its beauty and honorable lords. Or maybe its beautiful lords.
I'd like to get to know you better.
I mean, who knows? Foray's Lord Roy was in Ostia, Lycia's largest territory, when the invasion began. So here's our
Roy.
protagonist.
That's a name I know.
He had been sent to study to become the next Marquis of the Foray territory. However, the sitting Marquis and Roy's father, Eliwood, who is the protagonist of the prequel to this game, the sequel prequel, who has been ill, has sent for Roy to return, to lead Foray's soldiers in defending against Bern. Marquis Hector of Ostia, another one of the protagonists from the prequel to this game, leads the Council of Lords in Lycia. At the same time, Eliwood sent for Roy. Marquis Ostia's daughter, Lilina, was in Foray visiting Eliwood, who is Marquis Ostia's longtime friend and confidant. Upon receiving his father's message, Roy hurries home, taking with him his vassals. And Boars. His vassals and Boars, a knight from Ostia, who is responsible for Lilina's safety.
Yeah, and boars.
Yeah, and
He's here
Boars.
too.
And that's pretty much how that reflects his gameplay as well. He's here too.
He's doing his best, okay?
He's doing his best. The story begins when Roy reaches the outskirts of Foray. Here we go.
Alright, now that we've all had an etymology lesson, is it time to actually do some gaming?
Yeah. Chapter 1, Dawn of Destiny. Alright. We'll see how much I screw this up. I'll play this guy. Boss! They've all hidden themselves inside the castle.
It's good to know this character. It both has a speech impediment and is from Boston.
Yeah. Be this guy, be this guy.
Heh, even Eliwood, the greatest knight in Lycia, is no match for an illness, it seems.
You were right. When you said there wouldn't be many soldiers. They're all getting ready to defend against Bern.
Of course I was right. I'm always right, you fool. But reinforcements could be here any minute. All right, you curs, listen up. Curs? Kill everyone in the castle while we still got time. Then we can waltz outta here with all the loot.
Castles ain't the only places with loot. Let's go ransack the villages and take everything they got. That's a gameplay. That's a gameplay bit. They're telling you how the gameplay works. Oh no!
Not everything we got. Lord Eliwood! We're under attack by bandits from Mount Holm!
I understand. Thank you, Merlinus. Blast
If
it! What's up?
if someone said you were under attack and the response was "I understand," you just slap them silly.
He's sick, yo. He's sick.
Okay, yeah, he's sick.
Blast it! Were I not in this pitiful state, I would take care of them all myself.
Lord Elwood!
You get to be Alina for the rest of the game. Get ready for that. Alina, you must hide yourself. This castle is going to become a war zone.
No, my lord! I can fight too!
She can, but she's not very good at it. But we'll see that later. Don't be absurd. I couldn't face Hector if something happened to you in my own castle.
My father? But...
It's going to be alright. Roy should be here any moment, so we just need to hold our own until then. He'll drive off these dastards.
I mean, you can use dastards that way.
So this is more of a meme than a
Okay.
accurate translation. In the very first Fire Emblem translations into English, the official ones, there were things that should have been translated as bastard, but Nintendo was like, no, we can't use bastard. So they used dastard, and now it's just a running joke. Merlinus! Send a messenger to Roy, and let him know the current situation. We need his help.
Yes, my lord!
Here they come.
This better be Roy, because everyone else sounds pretty shit.
Oh, it's Lance. What's the matter? Why are you in such a hurry?
Lord Roy! Bandits have appeared and are attacking the castle as we speak.
No! Is the Marquis unharmed?
He's inside, defending against the bandits' attack. But I don't know how long he can last with his illness.
Excuse me, Lance, is it? Is Lady Lilina safe?
You must be a knight of Ostia. Lady Lilina is in the castle. And even this guy knows he's just here. She should be alright. She's with Lord Elwood after all, but he can't last forever. You know, 'cause of the illness.
No. I shouldn't have let Lilina go to the castle before me.
Lord Roy, regret won't solve anything. We must retake the castle.
Walt is right. We must make haste. Yes, you're right. This is no time to despair. Very well. To arms, then! Our target is the castle. We must rescue everyone! Alright, here we are, Chapter 1. Now, you thought there was going to be gameplay? Well, you're quite wrong, because we gotta talk about some units. So, Fire Emblem is a tactical RPG, which means we have a lot of characters, and each of these characters has unique stats and facets to their role in gameplay and how they work as units. So each one has a number of visible stats, which you can view on a stat screen, as well as a bunch of hidden stats, which I'm going to talk about. So, let's start with Roy.
Let us bring forth a new era, together.
Roy is the main lord of this game, and he is very bad at fighting. Roy is one of the weakest main characters in the entire Fire Emblem history. So we can see his base stats here. They don't really mean too much on their own because you haven't seen any of the enemies yet. But he starts as a level 1 lord. He has pretty low HP. He has pretty low everything except speed and luck. And he has 5 move, which is pretty annoying because you always, in this game, need to seize a point on the map, which is either a gate or a throne, with Roy in order to defeat the chapter. So you're always trying to get this guy to some point. He's always going to be in danger of dying, and you always want him to be at the end point of the map to seize the throne. So this guy spends a lot of time riding around on other people's horses so that he can get from place to place. He has this personal weapon here, the rapier. It's effective against knights and cavalry, pretty standard Fire Emblem fare. It has pretty good stats, I guess, but 5 might is a little bit low. It does have some crit, so you can occasionally crit some things. It comes with a vulnerary for healing himself up. And he can only use swords, so pretty standard for a Fire Emblem Lord to only be able to wield swords as a weapon. In this game, swords are pretty good. Swords are often kind of bad in Fire Emblem because unlike something like lances or axes where you have access to one-range things where you can poke people at close or throw a spear at them or throw an axe at them, you can't throw swords, so swords are locked to one range rather than 1-2 range like lances and axes. But in this game, accuracy is a really big problem, and swords are the most accurate weapon, so not a bad weapon type. Alright, let's look at some of his hidden stats, though. What's up?
See, I was just thinking, you know, the movie Samurai Cop begs to differ about if swords can be good ranged weapons.
I'm telling these son of a bitches that if they continue killing our children, I'll have their stinking bodies in garbage bags and ship them back to Japan for fertilizer.
I mean, there are ranged swords in this game, don't get me wrong, but they're just not very good.
Okay.
And you don't throw them. In Samurai Cop you can throw swords, but in Fire Emblem, at least in these Fire Emblem games, no. Later ones there are throwing swords. Alright, so there's a bunch of hidden stats. And
okay.
I'm talking mostly about growth rates. So what's up?
Oh, this is some data.
This is some data, yeah. This is some background. I didn't even put it in half the stuff. I mean, there's a whole bunch of other things that we could talk about, especially with supports. They're really complicated. You can see he has an affinity. Has the fire affinity. At the bottom of the screen here are all of the people he can support with. So in this game, when you stand beside somebody while ending the turn, you gain support points at a rate determined by here. So in the brackets beside each character name, there's 2 numbers. So for example, Alina 56 and +4. That means they start with 56 support points and they get +4 every turn they stand beside each other. And depending on... So by getting support points, you could level up your support. C level, B level, and then A level. And depending on which level you're at, you get different bonuses to things like hit, attack, avoid, critical hit. That is... Which bonuses you get are determined by which affinity you and the person supporting you have. And supports are activated when characters are within 3 tiles of each other. So super complicated mechanic, really hard to explain, but we will try to take advantage of it in here. And the other thing is that when you activate a support, it reveals some character interaction between the characters, so it's also part of the story. Okay, but a little bit easier to understand is growth rates. So in Fire Emblem, when you level up a character, they have a random chance to increase each of their stats, and that's determined by a growth rate. So, for example, Roy here has an 80% chance to increase his hit points, 40% chance to increase his strength, 50% chance to increase his skill, 40% speed, 60% luck, 25% defense, and 30% resistance. So, in Fire Emblem, units tend to be... they tend to go one of 2 ways. They tend to either be units with low base stats and high growth rates so that you can level them up and make them stronger over time, or they'll have high base stats and low growth rates so that they're useful immediately, but they fall off over time. That's not true in every game, but it is mostly true in this game. And Roy's growth rates are, for this game, I would say pretty good. Even though you mostly have a bad chance of increasing like strength or speed, that's still higher than a lot of characters for Binding Blade standards. The other thing I put on here is promotion gains. When characters promote into a new class, which you can do for most characters by promotion items. So you level a character up to at least level 10, maximum level 20, which is the level cap. So if they're between level 10 and 20, you can give them a promotion item, and that allows them to change class. It resets their level, and it applies these promotion gains, depending on which vary depending on their class, and then they can level up in their new class. So Roy gets a promotion. It's forced by the story. We'll talk about that a bit later because it's kind of funny in this game. But it's good to know kind of what promotion gains are, because sometimes it's good to promote your units early, and sometimes it's good to level them up a bunch first, depending on what you want to use them for. So that is Roy.
Okay. Well, I thought, I was good at this game because I remembered the weapons triangle, but,
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on here. All right.
Also, why make it random? Like, as someone who likes to plan ahead for things, it just feels like it's built to annoy me.
So one of the appealing things about the randomness in this game is, so that's an interesting point, but I think I'll talk about it a little bit more once we get playing. But basically, I think it's to encourage you. It was originally designed to encourage you not to reset when your characters die, because Fire Emblem famously includes permanent death for your characters. So if you get really good level ups on them, and then one of your characters die, you're like, oh, maybe I don't need them. So we've talked about Roy. Let's talk about Marcus. Marcus is part of an archetype in Fire Emblem known as the Jagan character. Jagan was the original paladin that starts with you at the beginning of the game. So he is in a promoted class. Let's open up his stats here. So I haven't put any promotion gains for him because he doesn't promote. He's a paladin. Paladin is the promoted version of Cavalier. We have some Cavaliers that we'll talk about in a minute. And Marcus is he's easily one of the 3 best units in this game. And in the early game, he absolutely destroys everything. He's super strong. He has great skill, so he crits a lot of things. He's fast. He's pretty defensive. He's got really good resistance. So he can really go up against a lot of things. He also has 8 move and pretty good constitution. Constitution is a stat that affects how easy it is for you to wield weapons. And aid is a stat that allows you to rescue people. I'll talk about the rescue command in a little bit. So Marcus is going to be super, super important for us for a lot of the early game. And he has some utility later on in terms of like moving people around. He'll spend a lot of time ferrying Roy around in the late game, I think. But you can see his growth rates are not that good, so he usually doesn't get many stats when he levels up. So this is pretty much how he'll be for most of the game. Alright, so, who do you want to talk about next? We've got this archer guy, we've got some Cavaliers, and we've got boars.
I want to talk about Walt, because his name is Walt.
Alright, let's talk about Walt. Walt is apparently a German guy based on his name. So here's
I don't
Walt.
think that's a name even in Germany.
It is. It's not pronounced like that. It would be short for... Yeah, no, not even really close. It's kind of a janky name. That's pretty fair. What's his Japanese name? Maybe this is just a weird translation. His Japanese name is Waruto. No, that doesn't help. So this is Walt. Walt is an archer. Bows in Fire Emblem. Let's go to his bows. So bows in Fire Emblem have 2 range usually, so they can't attack up close. And that's pretty inconvenient because it usually means that on enemy phase, when units are coming up and trying to hit you, you don't counterattack them. So it makes it a little hard to use archers in a lot of games. In this game though, enemies are pretty strong, so having some chip damage from afar is pretty decent. Unfortunately, Walt has absolutely awful stats. You can see here, he's worse in literally every stat than Roy, and Roy is already not very strong, so this guy's not very good. His growth rates are fine, but he's just not very good. We'll get better boat-wielding units later. I don't think we're going to use this guy long-term.
But I love the name.
Name's
Also,
pretty good.
in case anyone thinks that I'm not bringing anything to the table here, I just like to let people know that I looked it up, and Wolt is a Finnish food delivery app similar to a DoorDash or a Skip the Dishes.
That's the best news. That's the best news I've had this entire... Okay, so from now on we're just gonna call... Okay, well, I've changed my mind. We're gonna use Walt. And we're gonna make jokes about him delivering Finnish food. I don't... What's a Finnish food?
I don't... What? I don't actually know a stereotypical Finnish food.
Okay, let's talk about our Christmas Cavaliers. So in Fire Emblem, you usually in the early game get a couple of Cavaliers, and one of them is green and one of them is red. So I like to call them the Christmas Cavaliers. These guys are pretty similar. Let's start with Alan. Let me pull up his hidden stats here. Okay, so Alan, you can see he has a support with Lance. And Lance is the other Cavalier. Pretty on-the-nose name, Lance. But Alan's pretty good. Alan and Lance are both pretty good. They have pretty similar base stats. Let's just quickly... Where are you? So Lance is the one... Yeah, Lance is the fast one. And Alan is the strong one. But they're pretty similar in terms of utility. Neither of them are really going to double attack, which I'll explain in a minute. So, at the beginning of the game, basically what you end up doing with these guys is you try to use both of them, and one of them will get the opportunity to promote earlier, and I'm just going to promote whichever one is better at that time, since they gain stats randomly and their growth rates are pretty close. Yeah, they're both pretty good. So, Cavaliers, they get some special abilities. They're pretty good at rescuing units. You can see that they use swords and lances. Both the Cavaliers in this start with D rank lances and E rank swords, so they're both better at using lances. Let's just jump over to Lance's stats. So this is Lance. What's up?
I really hope we promote Lance, because I don't think I could bear
You
to
hope we promote
go through
Lance?
the whole game with it. Yeah. I don't think I want to go through the whole game with someone named Alan.
I mean, just because we promote him doesn't mean we're going to use him the whole game. There's a lot of units in this game. So here, yeah, we'll look at Lance. So Lance's growth rates are almost the same. They're all within 5% of each other. So like, it's statistically almost negligible. They promote the same. They have pretty similar range of supports. So, but you will notice here that Lance starts with a javelin. So this is pretty handy. So this has 1-2 range. So we can attack up close and from afar with this. But we're probably going to give this to Marcus because he's just so much better at using it. But a good item to start with for sure. So that's everyone, right? We didn't.
Well, Boars is here.
He's here. Yeah, we found out he's here. Let's look at. Here's Boars. Where are his stats? He's here. So
those aren't great.
Here's the problem with Armored Knights in almost every Fire Emblem game. Movement. All the other foot units in the game have 5 movement until they promote and get 6, and horse units have 7 and promote to get 8. Boars here has 4 movement, so that means that whenever our units are going somewhere, which they're always going to be doing because we're having to go to some objective, Boris is going to get left behind. So, yeah. Also, he's super slow, which is a problem because of something that I'll talk about in a minute. But he does have a lot of defense.
He has an affinity for boomerangs, so...
Yeah, that's the symbol for wind. Can you believe that?
I
I'm not
mean,
sure.
it doesn't remind me of wind, but sure, why not?
Does this guy have anything particular? Like his growth rates aren't even very good. Like they're lower
Hey man,
in almost
peak
every.
that HP.
He does have really good HP growth. Yeah, he'll have so many hit points.
He's built to be a tank and nothing else.
Yep, and that's usually not what you want in this game. So that pretty much does it for units. All right, so we're fighting a bunch of bandits. They are led by Damas here. Damas is apparently a real name. It's like some weird version of some Greek-derived name. It's basically the same thing as Damien, but like a jankier version.
Sure.
I was like, surely that's just a mistranslation, but no, it's a name.
I'm going to assume it's short for Damascus.
Maybe. He does have a steel axe. So that could be a thing. He's pretty strong. A lot of our dudes are not going to be that good against him. This guy is also pretty strong. This bandit, this brigand, he's pretty fast, so most of our guys won't be able to double attack him. These guys are also pretty fast. They're all kind of fast. So enemies in this game are just pretty strong in general. So what we're going to do for the first turn here is we're going to smack people with Marcus, because that's pretty much what you do. So I guess now we can talk about the weapon triangle and double attacking. So the weapon triangle in this, pretty famous part of Fire Emblem, not in every game by any stretch, but swords beat axes, axes beat lances, and lances beat swords. In this game there's also a magic triangle, which is, I can't even remember which way it goes. Anima beats light, and light beats dark. And dark beats anima, that's how it goes. So, usually not super important. In this game, though, your hit rates tend to be super low, so that the weapon triangle can play into it, but swords are so much more accurate that you often just use swords against lances, because that's how it works. So the weapon triangle affects your hit rate, and if you have weapon triangle advantage or disadvantage, you gain a point of damage. Not attack power, but actual damage, so yeah.
Naturally.
Well, no, it is actually attack power, but... And then, so as far as double attacking, if you have 4 speed more than the unit you are attacking, so let's look at Marcus here, has 11 speed, this guy has 6, so he has 5 more speed. So since he has at least 4 more speed, he will attack twice in combat. And the reverse is true, so let's do this.
Haha. Man, we're so good at this.
I can't remember off the top of my head how important the weapon triangle is in this game. I'll look it up for the next one. So now we're going to get a kill with Walt.
Let's go, Walt.
He's delivering some food.
Walt is about to smoke that boy like some herring.
There we go. Finished food jokes,
Boom.
everybody.
Finish food.
Alright, so the next thing that we're going to do here is make use of a few different things. So this is the rescue command. It lets you pick somebody up. And mounted units, after doing certain actions, not attacking, but other actions like rescuing, trading, stuff like that, can move again. So we're going to pick him up and take him over here. But we want to be able to use him again. So we're going to go over here. We're going to take him. And we're going to drop him, doesn't matter, here. So we've got our cav boys over here. And this lets me bring in Roy behind Marcus here. And then Boar's here. He's not really going to make it where everybody else is going, so I'm just going to slowly send him over to visit this village and talk to the people there. But I don't want him to fight this guy, because I want everyone to go fight Marcus. Who is this guy? Curses! Reinforcements already? But they'll have to go through me to get into the castle. Generic bandits.
Man, it's like he's a bad guy or something.
He's... Marcus! So sometimes Marcus will
Oh.
crit.
Sure. Yeah,
I would
just
prefer-
murder that boy.
I prefer he didn't do that. I kind of wanted to give some experience to some other people. I mean, like, giving experience to Marcus is fine. Like, I'd like to level him up a little bit, see if he can get some stats, but in general, he doesn't benefit that much from experience, so if you can have him weaken things, which...
Yeah, he's growing pretty slow there.
Yeah, he doesn't get a lot of experience, so it's nice if you can have him weaken stuff, which he's really good at, and feed it to some of your other units, give him experience. But some people, when they play this game, they're like, "Oh, Marcus, he's an EXP thief. Just don't use him. Like, don't not use him. It's a nightmare if you don't use Marcus." So this guy, he's going over here. Let's kill Roy. No, let's not kill Roy.
Kill Roy.
We lose the game if we kill Roy. Let's have Roy kill this guy. Maybe we can give him a different sword. They all kind of need swords. Alright, whatever. We'll just use the rapier. So, 100 hit. No risk here. I guess that's as good a time as any to talk about hit rates. Hit rates in this game don't work the way you would expect. So, the numbers you're seeing, they're not really percentages. And I won't refer to them that way. I will call them hit rates. So, what happens in this game is there are 2 random numbers rolled every time an attack goes or something to determine the hit. And if the average of those random numbers from 1 to 100 is less than the number that's displayed, you hit. So if you have like 70% displayed hit, you actually have like 82% chance to hit or something like that.
Ah, sure. I mean, why not make it a little easier for us?
Yeah, so that was introduced in this game. I mean, it changes in later games. Before that, it was just... So here we have 92% chance, which is like really high chance to hit. So you say you want to use Lance because you want Lance. So
I mean, it's just a much better name, so...
Yeah, alright, let's
feed Lance some experience here.
Let's feed Lance. Let's see what's going on over here. So... This guy can't get to Marcus. This guy can. This guy can't. This guy will be able to get...
Only one of those 2 can, right?
Yes. And it depends. Alright, so let's... Ooh, 63 hit. That's not so good. So we'll use a sword. And we're gonna smack this archer. Hopefully this is okay. Might have killed him. So, yeah, so 2 of these, what's going to happen is this archer, I can't remember if archers move first or not, we'll see. Okay, archers move last, that's what I was hoping for. So, that means that the axe fighter can't get to Alan to hit him, which would have done a lot of damage to him and might have been a problem. Oh, no, they are actually moving in the correct order. I mean, the correct order for them to hurt us. Oh, no, they aren't. Okay, so this guy... So, like, this guy could have gotten here, but because his movement order in the game is, he moves after this guy, he's like, oh, I had my chance to move, but there was nothing to attack, so I'm staying where I am. So we're going to do that a lot. We'll kind of...
Gotta love it when the AI helps us out.
Yeah, we need to do... I mean, a little AI manipulation is good for the soul. So I think what we're going to do here is grab a different sword so that we don't waste the rapier. And then kill this guy with it. It's pretty reliable hit, so it should be okay. Good job, Roy. So in general, you don't really need to train up Roy. Like, let's have Marcus smack this guy. So he's pretty strong. Nice dodge.
Attaboy, Marcus.
Yeah, Marcus is just an absolute beast. Feed this guy. So we're gonna grab this sword, because we're gonna give it back to Alan after we kill this guy.
Naturally. If there's one thing I love playing, it's inventory manipulation.
Yeah, so you're gonna... A lot of this is gonna be like trains and inventory management and stuff if I do a good job. And if I do a bad job, then it'll just be like me wandering around being like, what do I do?
Yeah, well, at least that's consistent with the Fire Emblem I've played previously.
about yourself. So Walt. Walt. Alright, well, no one else can hit him, so he's not gonna die, but... Walt.
Come on, Walt.
Like, Walt? Let's look at his Walt stats compared to this guy. Like, he's worse than the generic enemies.
Yeah. Just noticeably worse.
Like, quite a bit worse. Okay, they're going after Roy. Hopefully he doesn't get hit by the axe fighter. Otherwise we get a game over.